Welcome to episode 9 of the Comedy Kitchen. I'm your host, Dennis Wirth. It is episode 9. Like a fine cat, we have 9 lives here at the Comedy Kitchen. And hey, today we're going to be cooking up some beef stew. And as always, we're doing my favorite things in life. We're doing some stand-up comedy, and we're going to cook up some food and eat it. You know, it's not something we like to cook, but we love to eat here on the Comedy Kitchen. So we're going to be doing that, and we're going to give you some stand-up at the end of the show. And I thought some beef stew, you know, it's like it's a manly thing. You know, you get beef together. And if you tuned in the last episode, Bruce Chester, we taught you about the holidays. We made some coconut balls for that. And I'd like to welcome on my guest for this episode. He's a guy I've worked with a lot. If you want to check out my websites, www.denniswirth.webs.com, Joke in the Box Comedy Clubs. And one of the guys, we got a show tomorrow, but this episode will air after that. We're going to be performing together, raising some money for charity. But one of the guys I've had in my rooms before, please welcome Mr. Chris Poublon.
Hello, sir.
Hey, Chris, thanks for coming on the show.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Good drive up. This is the Comedy Kitchen. You going to be ready to make some beef stew?
Oh, I love beef stew.
It's going to be some good eating, man. Good cooking, good eating, and good funny stuff we got going on. It is the Comedy Kitchen. We do the cooking thing before we get started. Tell the guests, how did you get started on comedy?
Well, I joined the Marines. I was in there for a little while, and everybody's been telling me I was funny. I've been told I'm funny my whole life. And when I got home, I didn't think that comedy was really for me, but one of my friends said, dude, you're in Iraq and you're afraid of doing stand-up comedy?
It's nothing after that, right?
Yeah, that kind of pushed me over to do it. I started going to the Winter Circle in Salisbury, and it's kind of an addiction. It's one of those things, you do it once or twice, and you just stay at it.
It is definitely an addiction once you get up there. And the first time you make somebody laugh, you can't wait to get back up there and make them laugh again. It's certainly, I remember getting home at nights and I couldn't even sleep. I was so pumped up. I had a good set. I can't wait to do it again. It's a fun time. And
yeah, definitely. It's a lot of fun.
So tell them a little bit. You said you were in the military, and tell them a little bit about serving. Shake your hand. Thank you for serving our country. But tell them a little bit about being in the military.
I joined the Marines in 2004, and I joined as a cook. Simple answer or reason, I didn't really think I was going to have to go over there if I was cooking. I wasn't going to kill anybody, but I'll make you some eggs. That's what I always say. But no, I went to Iraq. I did a year in Iraq searching people for bombs every day. Not really a fun gig. But yeah, 2008 I got out, and 2009 I started doing comedy, and I play ukulele now.
And all right, you're doing it all. A little ukulele.
Yeah,
incorporated that.
That's
good.
My songs, so.
All right, we're going to get going here. First thing we're going to need is we are going to need our beef, because you can't make a beef stew without beef.
Not
and we
at
have
all.
our pre-packaged beef right here. Got some stewing chunks. You want to get them a little bit thick. And we're going to want to marinate those up. So you want to open those, maybe pour them right into that little blue Tupperware bowl we got there.
Right on, no problem.
And I am going to grab us some Worcestershire sauce, and we're going to marinate them up with that, and it's going to be all good eating. So in the military, what were some of your famous dishes making in the military?
Biscuits and gravy.
Biscuits and gravy? That's a big military dish?
Hey,
we make a mess here, you know, it's all good at the Comedy Kitchen.
Yeah, biscuits and gravy, and that's what I took home with me. Although in the military, I had to chop up some hamburgers, raw hamburgers, and then I threw some flour on it, and I throw in some milk, and it thickens up.
We got a little
Worcestershire,
trash over here.
so all that fun stuff. Now I use it with a Jimmy Dean sausage.
All right, well, you know what? If you were a cook in the military, you are the perfect guest to be on the Comedy Kitchen. That's the guest we want on, who knows how to cook, and he knows good eating, I can guarantee you that. All right, you throw the cover on there, and you're going to want to shake it up a little bit, get it marinated.
Yes, sir.
And so did all the soldiers, they compliment your biscuits and gravy? Did they like the stuff?
Oh, they didn't care.
They didn't care. Just feed us, man.
Yeah,
We don't care what you make,
feed us.
right?
Get it in my face hole, and
We're out here working hard. We need to eat.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're not going to marinate them long. We got to get those on the grill. So
Right on. So
you got them shook up.
Pop them on.
We're going to open up our little grill here.
Alrighty.
We're going to open up that.
All right, and just lay them down, huh?
Just lay them on that bad boy.
Oh,
You
hear
can
that
already hear
sizzle.
them. Can you hear them sizzling there in the Comedy Kitchen?
A beautiful thing.
They're going to slide a little bit. It's all good. All right, we washed our hands. We're good. Maybe slide them out a little bit there so they're even. I'll help you out here.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, when I was on ship, I went on ship for 6 months with the Navy. And instead of cooking in a kitchen,
And we'll close our little grill.
I was in bake shop, and I got a Navy Achievement Medal for baking.
Really?
I was quite surprised. People get that stuff for pulling people out of cars and saving lives. I get it for baking snickerdoodles.
So that's like the what do they call it? The Purple Heart. That's the Purple Heart cooking you got right
That's
there.
right.
It's all good stuff. All right, so In addition to the comedy, I know that you are also a radio host on WCAP 980 AM out of Lowell Radio. Tell a little bit about your show.
Oh, yes. I produce all the afternoon shows. So Monday through Friday, I'm working with Jack Baldwin between 12 and 2. And also, I do my own show every Thursday night from 9 to midnight called The After Party, 980 WCAP. It's pretty much me and a bunch of other comedians goofing off, and I'll tell you, I'm surprised I haven't been in trouble yet. So for
the
AM
FCC
radio,
going to be coming down on you, man, like Howard Stern or something. But I was actually a guest on your show. I had a great time, and you put on a great show. So can you tune that in online? Can you get you online?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can catch it online.
Check out, where's the website they can check you out?
I put all the past episodes on The After Party, 980am.com. Also, if you want to listen in live, and we're not in your range because we're an AM radio station, you can tune in at 980wcap.com.
All right, so check that out. Check out The After Party. It's some good listening, and it's a funny show. We do the comedy thing. It's always funny stuff. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to need some beef bouillon. So we got to open that up.
Fantastic.
We're going to dissolve that into 2 1/4 cups of water.
So I'm
so we got our water over here.
Poland Spring.
Poland Spring. Hey, it's
Best
good drinking.
That's right.
And I'm going to put 2 1/4 cups in.
And how many of these do you need?
And you just need 1 in there. It's just for a little bit of taste is all we're going to have.
Now, do you ever substitute this for beef broth?
You could, sure. Depends on your taste. All right. Just throw it right in there.
All right.
You were in the military, you don't have to be scared, we know. Could have just threw the whole bottle in, but hey, we measure it just for the fun of it sometimes. All right, we're going to mix that up a little bit. All right, and add to that, we're going to put a 1/4 teaspoon of some dried rosemary. So we're going to get our rosemary out here.
All righty.
I'll grab your trusty little spoons here.
Rosemary. All right, looks like I'm having technical difficulties already.
We don't need any of that. And in addition to that, we're going to put 1/4 teaspoon of dried parsley also. So.
Here we go. All right. Now this is 1 1/4 teaspoon.
No, 1/4 teaspoon.
1/4 teaspoon.
1 1/4. You're going to get way too much taste there.
Yeah, can't go too much on the rosemary.
All right. You know what? We got our little scissors here.
Ah, scissors.
Now he's telling me why didn't I give you the scissors? We got scissors now. All right. Well, we know for that. You know what else we need? We need a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. Okay, so you can put some black pepper. You got the rosemary. I'm working on the parsley here. So, what are some of your favorite soups other than the beef stew? What if you get in the mood for a soup? What's your favorite?
I dig some tomato soup. Or
There you go.
I don't know, you caught me off guard on that one. Soup. We made a gazpacho a little while ago, but I didn't really like the gazpacho too much.
I'm a big fan of clam chowder. I don't know if you like
clam chowder.
Yes. That's one of my favorite of all time.
Right,
if it's done right. New England, you're going to get the best clam chowder.
But beef stew is probably on the top of my list, to be honest with you.
It's a manly soup. I like beef stew, so that's all good. All right, we're going to stir that up a little bit as we get going here. And we're going to simmer that a little bit at a low simmer. All right, as we get going, how long have you been doing comedy?
I've been doing comedy about 3.5 years now.
3.5 years. All your years in comedy, you look back, what's one of the funniest stories? You ever have something funny happen to you in comedy you can tell us about?
I did a stand-up comedy gig. All right, first of all, I was doing another local access television program for somebody called Big Mama.
Big Mama.
And I was under the impression, I must not have read my email all the way through, because when I got to the show, I realized Big Mama was actually a big man dressed as a woman.
Didn't expect that, I guess.
Not at all, not at all. And it was fun. I was relaxed. Mama was a very nice lady. She was very nice to me. But she invited me on to a show. She said she does comedy off on the side, and it ended up being a drag queen show, where there was a little comedy in the middle. So I got to do my set after a nice skinny fellow did a Lady Gaga number. And that was certainly the weirdest experience I've ever had.
A lot of these shows you come into, you think it's going to be one thing and you get there and it's totally different than what you expected. So you never know what to expect in comedy, and that's half the fun of it. So yeah, you do a lot of good eating. I know a lot of the comedy places we play, they got different food. What's one of your favorite places you eat at? Or what are your favorite dishes you get?
Hammer. I've been to the Rusty Hammer, and they had the Reuben. I'm a big fan of Reubens, and they certainly had one of the best I've ever had.
That's the place to go.
Not to mention the side of sweet potato fries. Can't get much better
You
than
gotta
that.
get the side, of course. All right, maybe stir up our beef here a little bit. Make sure we're not getting it too brown on one side and not the other. Oh, it's looking good already.
It's looking like it's cooking.
I'm getting hungry.
Both sides just the same.
There you go. Maybe just jot it around there a little bit as we do that. All right. So,
I'm gonna use my fingers. Sorry.
hey, we washed our hands and it's all good at the Comedy Kitchen. So as you were doing comedy, and I know I ask all guests this, sometimes you deal with hecklers, you deal with drunks, you got to deal with people. What's one of the craziest things that ever happened to you dealing with somebody in comedy?
I went to a show once. It was the Burren in Somerville, and they had a special guest there. Eugene Merman actually showed up, and he does the voice on Bob's Burgers of one of the kids.
Okay.
And there was a bunch of drunk people in the crowd, and they started heckling the guy. Luckily, I was in the audience still. I did my set. I finished it. It was ruined by somebody screaming through it. But another guy almost rushed the stage to beat up the host.
Oh, gee,
and,
that's always fun.
That was the weirdest situation I've ever had being in comedy.
Because you don't know if you want to help or you don't know if you want to get involved or what's going on
exactly.
here. But
Marine's going to stand back this time.
for the most part, if you do the benefit shows at Stage Com, sometimes you do a bar show and you deal with the bar crowd. It's
certainly.
a little tough. But
That night was the Burn normally goes off at 10 to midnight, so a late show, people are already inebriated.
all right, so next thing we're going to do is something you probably have a lot of experience in the military. We're going to peel a potato. You ever done that? You've probably
Yes,
done a few
lots
in the
of
military.
potatoes.
So got our potato peel there. We've got a potato there. You want to pull that out.
All right, if anything, since this is already used, I could probably just peel it into this.
Oh, yeah,
if we don't want to
peel it
make
right
much
in
of a
there.
mess.
We don't want to make too much of a mess here. Let me
No
make you some room
problem.
over here as we get going.
I get my kids to peel the potatoes now.
Hey,
so.
you know, they'll be the future chefs on the Comedy Kitchen of the kids. That's right. So most of them want to go out to eat. They don't want to do the work. They like the Comedy Kitchen. They like the eating part. They don't want to do the work. But
Yeah.
you learn later on in life, if you want good food, you got to make it yourself, okay? You can't rely on somebody else. You got to take charge and
Absolutely.
really put it together. So that's some good eating on that stuff right there. So other than, I know I've had you in the Joke in the Box Comedy Club, where are some of the other places that you play that people can catch you at if they want to catch Chris Poublon on a live comedy performance?
I know the Winner's Circle in Salisbury I try to
mentioned that,
frequent.
yeah.
My friend Nathan Burke, who's also a comedian, he runs a show in Newburyport called The Laugh Loft.
Work with Nathan, great guy.
Yeah, he's a really funny guy. But yeah, trying to think of some more real quick.
I know you work with Boston's best comedians a lot,
That's
I think
right,
you do,
with Johnny
right?
Joyce. He does
He's
his
a
room
great
at the
guy.
Loci.
Another one of our guests here on the Comedy Kitchen.
A lot of times I get on holiday shows. I've been having somewhat of a dry spell where I've been writing a lot. I've been really busy with the radio show.
The radio keeps the Comedy Kitchen keeps me busy. It's good eating and good watching, but it's a lot of work that happens. And thank you to my crew for helping me out. And thank you to Mom. She's my biggest supporter. So, all right, looking good. Once you get that, you want to cut it into some little chunks here.
Yes, sir.
You're almost done peeling the potato.
Almost making
We make a mess. Every guest makes a mess when they get nervous. Like, you make a mess cooking. That's
I'm not
the getting
nervous.
the eating, man, you know?
I just make messes.
That's just it. Anybody who cooks is going to make a little mess in the kitchen. We clean it up later and we eat well. It's all good, baby.
All right.
That's looking good. So, got a little cutting board there. Maybe cut it up into the size of a sugar cube.
No problem. Doing some reaching around.
You need some reaching room. All right, I'm going to slide that right over. You can slide that back. And we got this. You want to bring it to a boil. What we're going here with all the seasoning in your water here. Once you get it at a boil, we're going to be somewhat good to go. Oh boy. So as you were growing up, Chris, you watched TV. Who were some of the mainstream comics that influenced you to want to do some comedy?
I really enjoyed Weird Al. Weird Al was
Weird Al,
the first CD I
Huge
ever
fan.
bought. I'm actually going to see him October 5th.
Oh, that ought to be a good show.
Yeah.
I've seen some of his live shows on television, and he definitely puts on a good show.
Yeah, and John Valby, which isn't the...
Dr. Dirty.
yeah, certainly. Not the cleanest guy in the world.
He's funny, though. If
But,
you're into that type of comedy, he'll make you laugh for sure. Hey, you know what? We can throw those right in.
Throw them right in there? I'll just
Why
pop
not?
them in. All right. I really like a lot of the parody music because
parody songs? Well, that's
kind
part
of
of what you do, right?
Yeah. When I started doing comedy, it was a lot of jokes. It was a lot of just straight stand-up, and but at the same time, when I started doing it, I was learning how to play my baritone ukulele.
There you go.
And in time, I got confident enough to play in front of other people, and I wrote enough music where it worked out.
All right. So as you go on, we got our carrot over there. You're going to want to grab your carrot, maybe cut that up too, and throw it right in.
All right. You a fan of peeling the carrots, or you like the skin on?
I like the skin on. If you want to peel it, that's your business. But
no problem. Skin on
it's some of the best eating. Boy, Jack LaLanne used to say that. Don't take the peel off. That's the healthy stuff. Is the peel.
That's what they say.
And he lived till like I forget what ridiculous age he lived to, but he lived a long time. So I'll take it he knows what he's doing.
When you're always trying to tell your kids, eat the carrots. They're good for your eyes.
They're good for you. That's right.
But they're actually good for helping you
going
adjust.
Here on the Comedy Kitchen. All right, let's stir that up a little bit. All right, we're going to cover that back up as we get going.
I see we got some stalks of celery.
Next thing, we got our onion here. Maybe cut up a quarter of an onion.
I promise not to cry.
And, well, you know, we don't like to cry on the Comedy Kitchen, but we do what we got to do, so.
All right.
All right, so as you're working on the local comedy scene and you do a lot of your shows on the local comedy scene, who are some of your favorite comics on the local comedy scene to work with?
On the local comedy scene, Chris Dimitrakopoulos. Very funny guy.
Very funny guy? I haven't worked with Chris yet, but I'll take your word for it.
Oh, yeah, you got that guy. Every time you know, some of those jokes you hear more than once, and eventually you don't really every time I hear his jokes, they're always just as funny as the first time I've heard them.
I work. Greg Bogus is like that. I've heard his jokes 100 times, and I still crack up when
I love his impression.
That's when you know you're funny, when you've heard the joke before and you still laugh.
And then you got Mark Gallagher, another really funny guy. He's a newer guy to comedy. He's been doing it for about 1.5 years, I believe, but still very talented guy.
Mark, he was on your radio show the night I was on. We did the show together. Very funny guy.
He's one of my co-hosts, and he does a lot of characters, and he does. Yeah, very funny guy.
Some of the up-and-coming comics to watch on the New England comedy scene. You're getting right here. Just a quarter of it, not the whole thing. All we need was a quarter of an onion. So
I just went all out.
That's beautiful. Hey, some people like onion, some don't. All right, we're going to let that boil up a little bit as we go here.
I'm going to push this aside then.
All right. All right, maybe grab one stalk of celery there and cut that up.
No problem.
You a big fan of vegetables? You a big vegetable eater, Chris?
I am, but only when they're in what I'm trying. Oh, just one of those.
Just one of those, yeah. We're only making for 2 people. I mean, if you want to make more, you can adjust your recipe. It's just me and Chris here today. We're going to be doing some good eating with the beef stew.
All right, cut the ends off.
There you go. This guy's like an old pro. You can tell. Say I had Larry Lee, who was in here, and he said his wife does all the cooking, and he was a little confused. But you can tell somebody who's cooked before. They're not afraid to jump right in and get going, so that's
I'm normally
good
used
stuff.
to the bigger knives.
But I'm sure Larry Lee's wife must have cracked up at that episode watching him cook. But yeah, it was a good time. Everybody gets nervous. If it don't go well, we make a joke out of it, and that's why it is the Comedy Kitchen. It's all good stuff.
All right. Got the celery all set.
Throw that right in there. It's already smelling good, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I'm liking that, yeah.
Should be a mix of the beef.
An overwhelming aroma. All right, good stuff right there.
All right.
All right, as we get going, you want to check on the beef? How's that looking?
Let's check on the beef.
All right. Ooh, it's looking good. Maybe leave it up for now, and we're going to let it simmer. Maybe unplug it right there, because I think we're good, and we'll let it simmer on the heat. There we go. All right, so now what are we going to do here? We need a half a teaspoon of cornstarch. So
right around the corner.
It's hidden over there somewhere. There you found it. All right. Got our trusty spoons here.
Half teaspoons will help thicken it up.
Oh, actually, I got it over here. Yeah, there we go. We found it.
Yeah, it's always one of my obstacles in my journey of learning how to cook was figuring out what is the best thickening agent, and I learned that cornstarch is
one of the better ones.
Very beneficial. Unless you're making a cream sauce, then you want to make a nice roux.
Cornstarch, it's all some good stuff. We're going to mix this up a little bit here as we get going. All right, so as we're getting almost toward the end of the show here, when you look back on your career, years from now, you've done your comedy thing, you look back, what do you want to be remembered for? What are your goals? What's Chris Poublon going to be remembered for in comedy?
I'm hoping I get better at the ukulele. I'm hoping that I become one of the greats, I guess, just like every other comic.
Just like Weird Al, right?
It's typical. I hope I can look back and realize that I had a lot of fun along the way.
That's one of the main things. Whether you make it big or not, if you're going out and having fun, you're not even working a day in your life.
That's right.
So you're going to look back at it. All right, so we got this stuff cooking up, and it looks like you want to cook your beef till it's fork tender, and it looks fork tender, so why don't we take our little spatula there. We're going to add our beef right on in. And it's looking like some good eating right here.
All right. This might be a minute, folks.
That's all right. We stir it in. See, their mouths are watering at home. See, they got to actually follow this recipe, cook it up at home. Me, well, I'm ready to serve you some right now. See, we're good to go. Do. But that's the best part, isn't it? This is looking yummy. I like beef stew.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I know I've tried it once where the thickening agent we used was tomato paste.
Okay.
And it was very interesting.
I can see that. It's different, but I can see it, yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and shut this
You can shut that so they can see it, and we're going to do that. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to cook this until the potatoes are fork tender, and once the potatoes are fork tender, you've already got your beef cooked. It's going to simmer in there. The spices are going to soak in, and it's going to be some good eating. And we're going to show them right now because we have time constraints. We're going to show them what the finished product's going to look like. So you want to scoop a little bit of that in there?
All right.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Here we go.
One scoop, maybe another scoop.
Get some potatoes in there.
It's looking colorful in any event, right?
Yeah, I got to scoop some celery.
All right, don't put too much, because I remember I made some clam chowder, and we poured that all over the table for the camera shot, and we don't want to do that. That's looking good. Set it down. Maybe hold it out so the camera can see it there, and they're going to zoom in on you. Well, maybe tilt it a little bit, just until you can't
pour the broth out.
That's good. Let me zoom in. All right. So maybe pour it back in there. Now they know what it's going to look like. And we are going to let that simmer up for a little bit.
Fantastic.
All right, so we've done the cooking thing. Are you ready to do the comedy thing? Would you be gracious enough to give them somebody comedy?
I would love to.
All right, stay tuned, and we will be right back. Welcome back to the Comedy Kitchen. I want to thank you guys at home for tuning in, and you can make up some beef stew, and you can eat hearty. It's good when you're sick. When you're not sick, it's a manly feast. You know, it's good for the Army. And one guy from the Army, check out my website, www.dennisworth.webs.com. Joke in the Box Comedy Clubs. One of the guys I've had the pleasure of working with. Give it up for my friend, Mr. Chris Poublon. Go get him, Chris.
Thanks. Not one to make any corrections, but it was the Marines. But I'm going to start with a tune here. You guys all are very familiar with that song, What I Like About You. Well, I picture that song being written before he was trying to get with the girl. He has to lie to her, say all this nice stuff. This is 3 years later. What I hate about you, you snore at night. It's impossible to sleep, but no, I don't think it's alright. Nope. You're breathing in my ear. You complain about things I don't want to hear. It's true. It's what I hate about you. What I hate about you. You got a lazy eye. When it goes up, down, roll around, then it just points to the side. Weird. I don't know what it is you see. Are you staring at them or are you looking at me? It's true. It's what I hate about you. What I hate about you. You've gained so much weight. All you do is eat and sleep, then you bitch when dinner's late. Fatty. I'm surprised hostess went broke with the amount of Twinkies you stuffed down your throat. It's true. It's what I hate about you. All right. So far, so good. All right, and this next one is, I got to say, you know that song from The Police, I'll Be Watching You? Well, I always kind of figured that song was kind of creepy. It sounded like a stalker. And every time I mention this to a group of people, they say, well, it's because it was about a stalker. And I think, like, well, they need to clear this stuff up. So I did it for them. I'm hoping this catches on. So here we go. Every night you sleep. Outside your house I'll creep. When you go to work, in your basement I'll lurk. I'll be stalking you every single day. I'm not that far away. A few things may break for steps needed to take. I'll be stalking you. I move so stealthily, watching you from a tree. But then my cell phone rang. You saw me right away. I got underwear of yours you with binoculars. This camera's in your walls. Please return my calls. I'll be stalking you. Since you called the cops, I disappeared without a trace. Grew a beard so no one could recognize my face. Was almost caught, it was just a small foot chase. It's been so hard with surveillance around your place. Lift the restraining order, please. In my SUV, I watch you on DVD. And with a little luck, you'll help me make a buck. If you're on a date and your man is late, don't you shed a tear. I am always near. I'll be stalking you. When you're with your friends, don't try to pretend I'm not stalking you. I'll be stalking you when you drive your car. If you move real far, when you think I'm gone, won't be for long. I'll be stalking you. I always have to say that I'm not really a stalker, and yeah, we'll talk about that in a future thing. Anyway, that was that, and I got one more tune, which should conclude my 5 minutes of material. And I always want to start with: ever notice that the people with the worst breath always want to tell secrets? I can't stand it, and that's what kind of got me into this whole ordeal. So here we go, last one, and then I'm out of here. What did you eat? Your breath smells like feet. Does it give you a thrill to make me ill? You've offended my nose from talking too close. An inch from my face, give me space. Every tooth is green, some of them gray. Your enamel's rotted away. You didn't brush, probably should. Could do it with ease, prevents gum disease. You need to brush, then rinse. Listerine. Listerine. When you smile at sharks, looks like you snack on small rocks. One reason can say tooth decay, gingivitis is real. They say it can kill. In the meantime, it'll just mess up your grill. You need work done to fix up your face. Start with Colgate, it has a pretty nice taste. You need to brush, then rinse. Couldn't be easier for you. Your gum line makes me wanna spew. Why do I need to convince for you to floss, then brush and rinse? Listerine. Listerine. All right. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Thank you, Dennis Wirth, for having me on.
All right, thanks so much for being on, Chris. And until next time, eat up your beef stew, cook it up at home. Thank you for people at home for tuning in. Thank you to our studio audience. Thank you to the crew. And until the next episode, remember, eat well and laugh well. Good night, folks.